Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is John Payne with the Cash Flow Veteran Podcast. Thanks so much for joining us again today. Today, I have what I'm calling a teen boss. We have a young lady that's getting after it in her entrepreneurship journey, learning sales, honestly learning a lot of things I probably should have learned a long time ago. Even for me, I'm just getting started out, but I just love seeing someone that's at this age that's really getting after it. She's got some goals that she's getting ready to accomplish as she goes into college. And we're going to get into her story. Her name's Layla Spiker. She's actually the babysitter for our children while we were stationed together at Vandenberg Air Force Base. Her dad was there while my wife and I were both there as well. And it's been a fun journey for that year and a half that we got to hang out with them. My kids absolutely adore Layla. So it's always nice when we can reconnect. So with that, Layla, how's it going?
It's good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing fantastic. It's good that you got at least long had a chance to see you
Yes,
real quick and speak with you. Yeah. So let's get into this. I mean, one of the things that we reconnected with was your. I don't know whether it's necessarily a brand new endeavor for you at all. I think you were just getting started, but you're doing the Cutco sales, and so you actually started trying to do some face to face and just some online with the COVID world kind of go that we're in right now, and just trying to generate some sales through doing direct marketing for Cutco. So kind of go into your background a little bit on why you're even getting started and doing something like that, but also why you even started a business in the first place, being so young.
Okay. Yeah, so I started working as an independent sales representative for Cutco in March of this year. So I've been looking for a job for quite a while and applying to places and talking to people. Nobody hired me. And one morning I was in class and I saw something written on the board and it said, well, this is a great job for students. So I went and applied. And about 2 weeks later, I was called in for an interview. And so I interviewed with the manager and he said, well, basically you're selling knives. So it was definitely a shock because I did not know anything going into the job and I don't never imagined myself being a salesperson. But it's definitely been exciting and I'm glad I took the job and did it. I've learned a lot through doing it. So it's definitely something it's helping me grow already into what I want to do as my actual career.
Right. I mean, would it be fair to say, not to put you on the spot, but it would be fair to say that you're pretty introverted?
Yes.
Yeah, fair enough. So when you called us asking about like Cutco and like sitting down to do something like that, number one, that was a little bit of a shocker. So I was like, oh man, that's awesome for someone that has, a personality type that a lot of people don't associate with salespeople. As I've educated myself on it, there's some of the best salespeople, some of the best marketers that I know and that I follow and learn from are actually very introverted people to begin with. And um, the way that you stuck to your script throughout the whole thing, asking the right questions, trusting the process, all of the sales stuff that I've been trying to learn and stuff, I could just see it going through the process with you. And it's like one of the coolest things to watch is somebody so young really kind of getting it and going through the process overall. So let's back up a little bit. So what's your background as far as like your military affiliation, what your family's doing, like why you found yourself kind of at that juncture in Florida, and then what got you even interested in starting a business in general?
Yeah, so my dad is in the Air Force. He joined right out of high school. So he's been in for, I want to say it's been 20 years now. So yeah, he's been in the Air Force for 20 years. So most of my life, kind of. So I'm
Yeah,
17, so almost most of my life.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, so he's been in since then. So we move a lot with that. And he's actually deployed right now on his year remote. So we moved out to Florida from California. We have no ties to California. So our family is all up in Georgia pretty much. So it's been nice to be closer to them. But yeah, I got started with the Cutco business. I don't really know. It just kind of all fell into place and happened. So it was, I guess, a blessing in disguise with that. So as I said, I have trusted the process of how we're supposed to schedule appointments with people and complete them and stuff. And it was definitely something that was hard in the beginning for me to do is talk to people I've never ever met before over the phone and then face to face before all the COVID stuff and got started. But it's definitely been helpful to be able to do that and meet people I've never even met before.
no, that's awesome. One of the other I'd like you to talk about one of the other businesses that you have as well, and obviously it was something that has uh, a very specific goal for what you're trying to do, but talk about it when you got it started and what kind of pushed you to actually try to do that in the first place?
Mhm. So the other one is called Crochet for College. So I learned how to crochet in the year before last, so 2018, when I was in 11th grade. And I basically learned from my little brother because we wanted to make him stuff for that. So my mom decided to start helping me sell this stuff through a website. And then she kind of created her own business with basically a bunch of toddler stuff because her background's in toddlers and everything. And so the reason I started crocheting and trying to sell it is because my ultimate goal is to become a surgeon. So I'm definitely going to need to have the money to be able to pay for medical school and college and so on for that. And so it's going to be nice to be able to kind of run a business alongside doing that versus just a typical job where, you go in, to Chick-fil-A or whatever and work there and then you come back and yeah.
Yeah. So was that something that was? Would you say that that was your idea when that happened, or would your background with your mom, like, was she pushing you to do that in any way? Was it your idea? Like, what? How did that? How did the genesis of this whole idea even begin?
So I don't think it wasn't really my idea to do that. So we were looking for hats for my little brother. He was about 10 or 11 months old at the time, and we couldn't find anything. So she got yarn and some crochet hooks, and her plan was to start crocheting herself. But then I went and I figured it out. So I sat for like 5 hours by myself and taught myself how to do it. And then she kind of got busy with other stuff. So after I started making it and she liked it, she's like, "Oh, you're good at it." And it wasn't just her daughter that she said that. She decided to, I guess, kind of create her business. She likes to stay at home so she can be with the kids and my
Right.
youngest brother, so he doesn't have to go to daycare. And so her idea was just kind of to put this stuff for sale and see how that goes. So we started to get some people that liked it. And so I think that's kind of how she blossomed her other business with other stuff too, because she really likes that market base.
Yeah. So are you guys using, at least for your crocheting for college? Is that something that, uh, obviously you probably sell face to face on people that you meet, but as far as like the website goes, is it also an Etsy website or is it a separate website, or what's your channels that you actually decided to use?
So my mom ended up creating, she made like 5 websites, but the one that we use is called taughtgifts.com. So that has all of my crochet stuff on there, and then it has all of her products too. And then we also set up an Etsy account for the crochet products.
Gotcha. So you ended up doing both, which is one of the
Mhm.
things I really encourage people to do, is like, while you can use someone else's platform, that it has its benefits of getting out there and competing with a lot of other people and building a little bit more of a fan base from something that's already established. It's also really important to have your own platform that you control and that you can push out to the world and stuff. That way you have a lot better ability to connect with people that are true customers rather than trying to compete with everybody on another platform. So that's awesome
Mhm.
that you guys ended up doing something like that.
Yes.
Um, so now that you've had some of that experience with starting a business and you kind of walked into selling knives, I mean, what do you think your plan is going to be, after this? I mean, we had mentioned, talk about what you kind of plan on doing to college, and let's also then talk about, is there something that from these experiences you're like, maybe I should do something like owning a business later on, after you're done with your schooling?
So I have my heart set on becoming a surgeon, at least going to medical school. But I do know that I would like to pursue the cutco and also the crochet stuff through college at the very least to help pay for that. But ultimately, I'd love to do it through medical school too, as long as I can, so that I can help pay for that. And it also, there's valuable skills that you can gain through the work. And as far as cutco goes, you get promoted and you get paid better, and you get to have more leadership opportunities too. So I think that's something that I want to stick out until I absolutely have to switch over to becoming a doctor.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you obviously want to become a surgeon, which I think is awesome. I have a really good friend of mine from college that, that's all he ever wanted to do. And he's phenomenal at it.
Mhm.
Is there anything like, obviously once you get to a point in your medical career, obviously once you get to a point in your long college journey that you're going to have to take with a lot of that too. Are you, I guess that's kind of what you're talking about. I mean, do you foresee yourself throughout that whole period that you're still going to be able to do something on the side, or do you really believe that you're going to have to make a choice at some point in there to kind of part ways with some of your entrepreneurship type stuff?
So I am very skeptical of what's going to happen with that. I don't quite know how much time it's going to take out of my life to be able to do all of the doctor stuff. I know it will take a good portion, but I don't think that I'm going to pursue to continue selling knives per se with that. But I
Sure.
do think that I would love to still do the crochet. Crochet is a hobby. So,
Yeah.
in my free time, that's what I do. Come in, so
Yeah.
I'll make a living out of it and do something on the side with that.
Yeah, fair enough. So, for what's the hardest thing from starting the business for doing your crocheting for college? What's the hardest thing that you've encountered so far?
I would say probably just getting the people to know about your product and your name and stuff. It's definitely hard to do that. You have to have traffic flowing to your website and people that know about it. So I think that's been the most difficult part is getting people to the website. It's hard to outsource with everything too.
Yeah, that's for sure. Is there something, any type of particular marketing that you actually enjoy doing, or is it? I know some people that are just like they hate marketing altogether. They like to being able to set appointments and do some of that stuff. I mean, is there a part of the marketing that you actually really enjoy?
I wouldn't say so. My mom is in charge of a lot of the marketing and stuff.
Gotcha.
So she really just uses Facebook, and then she started getting Instagram and Snapchat and stuff like that. So she does it through that. I know that she has a hard time with it, but it's also good for her to learn about that 'cause she sees other people in the same situation as her that are kind of going through what she's going through. So she has that support.
Gotcha. So how much? So is she primarily just doing all the marketing for her business and for your business, and then you're more of fulfilling the orders for what you're trying to do, actually get the projects done for the customers there?
Yes. So she pretty much does all of that, which is super nice of her to do. So she
Yeah.
basically is like the backbone of everything. So
Sure.
she did the websites, she does all of the marketing and outsourcing, and she does all of that, and she does the packaging and everything like that. So she's definitely the bit more key part in this than I am. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's what she does.
So have you been able to kind of, I mean, obviously you've been able to focus on building a lot of this stuff and doing the work for it and doing the fulfillment, but have you been able to learn a lot just by seeing her about the different marketing opportunities and stuff that are out there?
Yeah, so I've started to learn how to make a website and stuff. I'm probably one
Nice.
of the least technologically inclined kids that are. So I really just got Facebook in April, and that's the only social media I have. So she's the one that's saying you have to get Instagram and Snapchat and stuff. So it's good to see that to keep up with the times, I guess. So she just started getting the Instagram and stuff. So it's good to be able to keep up as far as that goes. And it's definitely nice to see. I wouldn't say it's nice to see her struggle, but it's nice to see how she struggles and takes it in stride and makes
Yeah.
herself better and continues on from that.
Yeah, I would say it sounds pretty powerful to me. I mean, that's one thing I know that we're not quite there yet, and I really, um, in my mind, I used your example and your parents' example for us of where I kind of want to get eventually. We're nowhere near where we want to be, but we certainly want to do a lot more homeschool with our kids because I know you guys had done that for years. And I think you had even had the choice at maybe one point to go to public school potentially,
Mhm.
but talk about your experience just being able to do homeschool, and then I guess if you think it merits a discussion, like how has that impacted your desire and to kind of become the person that you want to be, or to even start a business or to even go down the surgery route? Like what impact has homeschooling had for you and what you think you're going to have for your future?
Mhm. So we homeschooled for separate years. So I was homeschooled in fourth grade, seventh, eighth, and 11th grade. And so the primary reason for that is because we moved, and then in 11th grade to school there, I wasn't learning anything from it. So we went to homeschool. I think that homeschooling is an excellent route. It's definitely helped me to realize more what I'm passionate about, I guess, in learning as far
Mm.
as school goes. Nobody likes going to school just to learn stuff that they don't really care about. So it's been nice to learn about the things that you're more interested in as far as that goes.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we saw with our children, even now with both of our daughters now doing Montessori. Donovan and Sloan both did Montessori in California when we were there, and the ability for them to be able to focus on what they're strong at, and not trying to fix all the things that they're just not inclined to do, but letting their own interests lead them into their learning experience really opened my eyes to a different way of doing education. And, I'd looked into some homeschooling programs and some other stuff prior to that and was open to the idea a little bit. But
Mhm.
until I saw like the Montessori system and then started reading deeper into homeschooling and how people actually conduct it, I had no idea. And then we finally kind of met you, and it's for someone that was so responsible that we took, full trust with our kids, over, a long summer that we had and stuff, it really impressed upon me that ideally what you had and what your parents did for you would be certainly something that we'd want to do for our kids, and just to see kind of where your passions have led you. And we certainly want to allow them to really kind of blossom with where their endeavors might take them. And my hope is they follow kind of your lead, certainly to open up a business or to look at doing sales, because what you're doing with Cutco was something I really, really wish I would have looked into much earlier on, because I was so focused at my school. I got to get good grades. I got to be on as many sports teams as I can. And, if the teammates deem it worthy, maybe I can be a team captain. I have to be a part of all these clubs, try to get officer positions in all these clubs to get this well-rounded look to me, to be able to apply with my good grades, with my good ACT scores, SAT scores, and just keep checking all of the boxes that were there to like get into school. And I found later on that number one, I struggled when I went to college because I don't think I was mentally ready for it. And it wasn't the whole reason why I went to college wasn't necessarily for learning. It was just another step to get where I was trying to go. And it wasn't until about halfway through college that I actually started really enjoying the major that I had. I ended up doing political science, which looking back on it now, doing sales and marketing, I'm like, hey, I should have gotten to copywriting a long time ago. I love getting into arguments. I love having conversations like this. I should have done sales a long time ago. My summer jobs or my part-time jobs, I should have absolutely been looking at sales opportunities. I mean, even if that would have started out maybe at retail, but certainly doing direct sales and face-to-face sales. I mean, I think I really would have blossomed even more as a sales and a marketer. And I'm delving back into it, but I absolutely love it. I wake up excited every morning to kind of learn more about what I can, and think it's just as important as you've already talked about, seeing your mom and how she handles adversity. I want my kids to kind of see me struggle and to kind of overcome that as well. So I certainly appreciate your your example with a lot of that stuff too. Well, so you've learned a little bit about some of the marketing and you've seen some of that. What are some resources that have actually helped you learn more about conducting a business or running a business or becoming a better salesperson? Is there, and don't go into any proprietary stuff if Cutco has it or anything like that, but certainly like, what are some of the things that have really helped you become better at sales and marketing and owning a business?
So I don't know if there's a specific resource I would say. I mean, of course, the internet, you can search anything on the internet and get tips from
Yeah.
that. But I would say it's been nice to have like an accountability partner, I would say, somebody that holds you accountable for everything. So if you say you're going to do something, they make sure you get it done and they actually care about you getting it done, regardless of how you're feeling about that.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you feel like that's actually my one criticism of college is I feel that there's like it's supposed to go there and you can learn whatever you kind of want to, you can go, and there's accountability in the terms of grades and stuff. But I always felt like I never had anybody that was really challenging me for my sake. It was just about the numbers and the statistics of the students, not necessarily about me as John, the political science major, and like, hey, what about you? What ideas do you have? What ideas do you want to explore? I felt that there was a lack of personal touch to a lot of it, where it seems like every training program for sales or marketing that I've gotten into, there's a much more like, hey, what are you interested in? What can we help you with? And it's just a totally different dynamic. I mean, is that uh, I guess you wouldn't know, but I mean, do you expect when you go to college that you're going to run into some different ways of thinking that may rub against what you're learning with sales and marketing at all?
So I've actually been taking college classes for my senior year, so that's all
Oh,
I've been
perfect.
doing
Yeah,
for that. So yeah, it does work out with that. As far as that goes, I think it depends on the class. So honestly, I probably wouldn't be doing college if I didn't have to go to the career that I want to do. I think that's a big
sure.
reason why people do it. And it's easy to just kind of get blended in with the rest of the people. So the best thing with college, I would say, is you have to make yourself stand out to your professors and stuff. So of course, for me, that's hard. I'm very shy and introverted, so it's hard for me to do that. But I think they just care about the majority of like the overall class and stuff. So you have to go
Yeah.
out of your way to talk to them and make sure they're interested in you, I guess.
I'm gonna interrupt the podcast for a quick commercial break. This is the drawing my daughter. What is it? A leaf?
Mm, it's stuff from a tornado floating to the water.
It's stuff from a tornado that picked it up. Oh, and threw it into the water. All right. Well, I appreciate that. I'm going to get back to my interview now. Is that okay? Okay. So what's been the funnest thing that you've learned about, whether it's been sales or starting a business? What's like the absolute thing that you look forward to?
I guess I would look forward to being able to outsource to more people and kind of impact their lives. I mean, of course, selling crochet stuff isn't the most impactful, but it's nice to be able to show them, hey, you can do this with your kids. And as far as my mom's business goes, it's all about, how the parents get interact with their kids and stuff. And with today, parents are working more and they're not really around with their kids, but it's nice to show them like, hey, this is the family. You want to be able to spend time with your kids and do things with them. And it kind of brings it together with that. So I think that's definitely an important part as far as that goes on the business.
Yeah, as soon as I kind of booked the interview with you, and then I had talked to your mom a little bit too, about kind of what she's doing.
Mhm.
One of the thoughts that popped up into my head, and my and Jackie and I talked about it last year when we first moved to Omaha as well. But like she made and the kids helped her. We made a succulent wreath, I think for ourselves or for somebody else. But you look online and it's like, wow, we made all the raw material that we did. Maybe it's like $50 to kind of put all that stuff together, which it can be kind of expensive, but people are selling some of that stuff for $80 to $100. I've seen 150 for some of that. And I was just kind of like, you know what? Maybe if there's something we could do with the kids that they could be somewhat of the labor for it, because it's kind of a labor of love for them to kind of help us do that.
Mhm.
I can do the marketing. And as they get older, they're only 7 and 4.5 years old. So maybe as they get older, I can give them more things to try, and maybe set them up with their own social media, or teach them how to update the website, or even maybe they could just build their own website and build their own brand out of already what we're doing and do special creations on it. And I from that idea, and then talking to your mom within the last couple of weeks, I was like, maybe I should actually sit down, do that with the kids, build the framework for it, and then build something in a joint venture with your mom to talk about how families can use it as a way to not necessarily make money, although it'd be phenomenal to really kill it in business, but at the same
Mhm.
time, like, hey, this is how you can reconnect as a family, and learn some fun crafting stuff, learn how to do business together, and actually learn as a family together, which you learn more about each other, you learn how to respect each other a little bit more. Um, you know, People say don't go into business with your family or whatever. But I feel like if it's a learning opportunity, and it's a way that we can also integrate that process into the homeschooling that we might have as well. And so that was one of the things I'm certainly going to be reaching out to your mom about as well. What do you think holds people back from actually getting started? I mean, you have peers uh, that are going into college this year, and who knows what their experience was like in high school, but I almost guarantee you that you are such a small minority of somebody that's actually started a business and working towards stuff. Like, what do you think would hold somebody that's that young back from actually getting started?
I guess a few things. Probably one, the fear, lack of motivation, and then probably a lot of times we think that we still have more time in our life to do stuff. So, we can put it off and not do it until then. So I think that's a big factor in it. And then, they feel like their lives are just getting started, so they don't have to start now. They can wait for another day or another day. And it's also hard. Yeah, it's fun to be able to dream up the ideas that you have and come up with all of those. That's the easy part. But the hard part is actually figuring out the specific thing that you want to do for it and continue on from there. So I think that also kind of plays a role. You have all these ideas laid out, but you don't know which one to choose from or how to get started.
Yeah, fair enough. I've I found it really interesting that you went the direct sales route. Is there anything particular that you think would be good to pass on to other people that are your age from some of the lessons that you've learned as a salesperson?
Yeah, I would definitely say, as far as it goes, sometimes you just have to dive in. You're never going to be 100% ready for anything in life. So you just kind of have to go for it. And with the sales, I was very skeptical to start out with it. Salespeople get a bad rapport and stuff with them. They lie to people, they're unhonest, they're slimy, but I have not found that to be the thing at all. I'm a very honest, ethical person, so I don't lie to people when I, do my sales and stuff. But I think it's something that for me, like with Cutco, I have learned so much more than just sales. I've learned how to grow personally. And my manager says all the time, when she first started out, she was so shy. And I remember her sitting in the waiting room and I told myself, you have to go easy on her. her. She'll, scare her away. But now he's like, I can go hard on her and she's okay. And I think that I've definitely grown a lot with it.
It's awesome. Do they have a personal like development program that they also like you guys to kind of go forward with or anything like that?
So we have, I guess, weekly meetings. So we have a key staff meeting, which is basically helps you touch up on a bunch of stuff. So we did one of our key staff meetings was about emotional intelligence and how you can kind of deal with your time management and stuff and things like that. And then we also have something called TLA, which is the Leadership Academy. So you have to be interviewed for that, and then if you go, you basically learn how to be a good leader and lead everybody else. So
Yeah, that's awesome. When I really didn't get interested in entrepreneurship until after college. And I think my first real experience with it, and even though my mom and my stepmom both had done Mary Kay consulting all the years of me growing up, it never dawned on me to even think that there might be something available for me. That was what my mom and my stepmom did. So it's certainly not something that I really, really looked at. But what I did look into MLMs with Amway when I first got out of the academy. And that was one of the things that I think really woke up kind of an entrepreneurial spirit in me, or at least laid a seed that certainly would sprout, eventually. But one of the things that helped me water that was they just got me interested in just, read one book a week. It could be a leadership book. It could be a time management book. It could be, some sort of process to just to get better. And that was one of the things that really changed my mindset from being somebody that was just there to kind of do a job to try to be a better leader, a better person, inside the military and in my civilian life as well. So I certainly think that's hugely important for a lot of people. Would you actually suggest that a lot of people is it possible for someone to start earlier in their sales career with something like Cutco? What was the age limit like?
As far as Coco goes, you have to be 17 to
Okay.
do it. So I think that's a maturity thing. But I know that a lot of the people that my mom talks to and stuff through social media, one of the ladies, her kids started out when they were like 10 and 13, and she kind of
Nice.
helped them with that. So I think that that's the way that you were talking about going with Sloan and Donovan and Eliana is kind of helping them out in the beginning and just having them find a product, and then slowly you kind of give them more responsibilities to do so that eventually they can sustain their business on their own. So I think you can really start at any age as long as you're there to guide your kids with that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to kind of discuss or cover throughout this interview at all? Is there anything that just as we've been talking or as I've been talking, anything that cued off in your mind at all?
Um, I guess as far as the business goes, a lot of business I find is bettering yourself to do better in all aspects of your life. So your business life, handling your motivation, your time management, learning how to delegate, and learning how to deal with your family life and separating it from your work life. So that's definitely something I think that the business has taught you. And like you said, it's good to read the self motivational books and self help books as far as that goes. And I also really like the idea that you want to get your kids into the business. I think that it will be great for them to be able to kind of be homeschooled and tiered to what they're interested in versus what they are supposed to learn, even though they don't care about that.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, what about people who, do have, kids that are in, let's say they can't do homeschool. They don't necessarily come from the same experience that you have or the one that I want for my kids. And, they only kind of have the fringe hours, maybe earlier in the morning, later in the afternoon, or, the evening or even the weekends. I mean, what do you think would be a good piece of advice for somebody that wants to get started, but certainly has a little bit of limited time? Obviously, you guys have been building stuff. I mean, what do you think would be the simple and easiest way to really get started with something? Maybe it's not crochet, but certainly something that's similar to what you guys are building.
So I would say, everybody has their own hobbies and interests. So you want to do something that you're going to be interested in doing, not something that's just going to be boring and that you don't have any motivation to do. And so I think starting out with something that's interesting to you will be helpful. That way it will be fun for you to start it up, and you're going to want to spend every minute that you're not working on other stuff to start that up. And if you choose something like that, you can find something your kids are interested in and you can help them start it up with that too. So it will be, I guess, more of a family thing instead of a chore that you have to do.
Yeah. Would you, just an odd thought that popped in my head. Have you thought about the difference of what people tend to use social media like versus having a business mindset about it. Because that's what I found. Like I was almost getting ready to delete a lot of my social media before really kind of getting started on this. And
Mhm.
I basically went through and redid all of my social media. And it's interesting because I know a lot of people basically get addicted to social media, just keeping on with the news of today and all this other stuff. And when I look at it now, it's much easier for me just to go, oh, I don't need that. Is it getting my business where I need to today? If the answer is no, then I'm putting it down and going and spending time with my family. I mean, has
Mhm.
that been granted? You didn't have any social media before Facebook recently, but is that something that you think is also distinctly different, or that you've experienced that might be different from other people, as well as maybe taking a step back from social media and looking how they can improve themselves rather than just trying to be engaged all the time?
Yeah, definitely. That's a big reason I didn't get social media ever, is because I didn't need the have to have the need to fit in with everybody and post pictures about myself or like my food that I ate. I had never understood that as far as that goes. So that
Yeah.
wasn't something that, there's other things in life that are more interesting. Like you said, spending time with your family, doing better in school, or doing things that are going to better yourself versus trying to appear better to everybody else through a social media platform.
Yeah. Now, I certainly eventually want to get into some of the influencers out there, because they obviously do it a lot of times because
Mhm.
for whatever reason, their looks, their personality, it somehow connects with a certain number of fans that allows them within whatever social media algorithm to start looking at doing sponsorships for stuff too. So I certainly understand that there is an element that we all like celebrity for a lot of it, but it just, if that's not your business model, then maybe you should look at it from a different perspective and use it as the tool that it was kind of intended to be, or at least a tool that you should intend to be, something that builds your business rather than something that just distracts you from doing what's important.
Yeah, it would be easy to go off and do what you normally do on social media versus working on your business. Just kind of leads you down a rabbit hole. You start one thing and then you get distracted with, oh, this advertisement, and you just keep going.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Layla, with that, I mean, I've pretty much covered, as many questions that I possibly could think of to ask you about you and your situation, just because I think it is a unique situation for someone as young as you, really delving into business, learning marketing, especially learning sales as a direct sales type person as well, but doing it for a legit reason. You're becoming a surgeon. That's what you want to do. And you'll have to make some tough decisions once you're going through school and on what you can or can't do with your time, kind of in order to achieve that goal. Is there any one piece of advice that you think that we can leave off with that would help someone in your similar circumstances thinking about doing? What's one thing that you think they should do in order to get started?
So I would say it's easy to get, unmotivated and to not want to do things. It's nice to have a clear, defined goal in mind. For me, I want to be a pediatric surgeon. I want to work in a hospital. That's my goal in mind. Like in a children's hospital, that's my goal in mind. And so when you have the tough days or the tough weeks, you can kind of look back and wonder, why am I doing all of this? And you see your goal, like it's all the way back up there. But if I stop now, then I'm never going to make it there. So it's good to have an actual goal in mind of what you're going to do, so you're not just going through the motions of everything.
Yeah, no, that's awesome piece of advice. Well, Layla, thank you so much for coming on. The last little question I got for you is, where is the best place for people to find you? So you can plug as many resources as you have out there. I'm going to make sure that they go in the show notes for the Cashflow Veteran podcast. What's this, episode 10? We're going to make sure that anybody that wants to reach out to you can. So go ahead and plug away for whatever you got.
Okay, so for the crochet and my mom's toddler business stuff, that's all on one website called totgifts.com. So it's just TOT and then the word gifts with the T and then .com. And so that is the website she runs through there. You can order stuff through there and it has all of the products on it. And then for the Cutco stuff, it's based on referrals or people who reach out to me. So I don't have an actual website for that. And so that a lot to make that until I get higher up in the business. But people can email me. So if they have any questions, they want to do a presentation or if they want
Yeah,
to order
yeah.
through me, then they can just email me at my email address at laylasbackground@yahoo.com.
All right. So we got totgifts.com and then also laylaspiker@yahoo.com if anybody wants to reach out to you for your Cutco sales. Is that it?
Yes. Oh, no.
No, no, no. Well, I'll have my daughter talk to you after we turn off the recording. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Cashflow Veteran podcast, Layla. I really hope your story kind of reaches out to a lot of parents and young adults out there who are looking to do something really, really similar. So with that, take care, Layla. Thanks so much.
Thank you.